So, continuing from the last lecture where we are discussing by putting the three rotation axes passing through the center of the sphere. Now, let me consider two rotation axes A alpha and B beta, and I will not draw the sphere because that clutters up the figure. So, one can imagine that the plane on which I am drawing is actually a surface of the sphere. So, consider a pole A, which is the intersection of the rotation axis A with the surface of the sphere, and consider a second rotation axis, which is again a second axis passing through the center of the sphere and intersecting at B, and the intersection points we call as poles. And about A I have a rotation of alpha, about B I have a rotation of beta. Now, one can join the poles A and B, which are on the surface of the sphere, by a great circle. So, that is a great circle, which is the shortest distance between A and B. Now, I will do a small construction that imagine that I draw another great circle through the point A, which is at an angle of alpha by 2 with respect to the great circle A B, and that great circle let us call as something like this, and let me call this as A x, and the angle here is alpha by 2. Now, what we do is we rotate this great circle A x by a rotation of alpha around the A axis, which would take this great circle A x to a new position, and let me call that as A x prime. Now, I do a similar construction at the pole B. I draw another great circle at point B, which is at an angle of beta by 2 with respect to the great circle A B, and let us call that great circle as B y, and this angle out here is beta by 2. And now, I give a rotation about the B axis by an angle of beta to bring the great circle B y to a new position B y prime. Very clearly, if I put some of the angles here, so since I have given a rotation of beta about this direction, about B axis through beta, since this was already beta by 2, this has to be beta by 2. Similarly, the angle between the great circles A x prime and A b would be alpha by 2. And let us also denote the intersection of the great circle A x prime and B y, and in the intersections between A x and B y prime as C out here and C prime out here. Now, if I consider the spherical triangles ABC and the triangle ABC prime, what can we tell about these two triangles? I have a common side AB to the two triangles, and the angles with the common side are equal. Basically, it means that I have a side included between two equal angles, alpha by 2, alpha by 2, beta by 2, beta by 2. Hence, just like in the Euclidean geometry, I have essentially the situation that the two triangles ABC and ABC prime are congruent, which would also mean that the other sides are also going to be equal and the other angles are also going to be equal. One other important point that comes out here is look at the motion of the point C. So, point C moves to C prime by an angle of A alpha, or rather C moves to C prime by a rotation of alpha about the A axis, and then when I do a rotation about the B axis by an angle of beta, what happens? The point C prime moves back to C. What does this mean? That is, let me put it another way, I do an operation of A alpha followed by B beta. Essentially, this means that the point C is an invariant point. And remember that we are looking for invariant points, because when you are talking about point symmetries, in this case rotation axes, wherever there is an invariant point, that is where the rotation axes would be located. So, indeed, we have found the location of the third axis, and the third rotation axis is given by the pole C. So, I can now say that A alpha followed by B beta gives rise to a rotation axis at the pole C. So, we have actually found the location, but we still do not know on the surface of the sphere where it is, but in this figure we have found this location, and let us say that this rotation axis will do a rotation of gamma. So, I have got all these three angles that I am looking for, alpha, beta, gamma, and given alpha and beta I still do not know what is gamma, but we will see as we progress. Now, in the same figure, let us focus on pole A, that where does this pole move? So, A alpha followed by B beta, where does the pole A move? So, first we do a rotation of alpha about the A axis. Well, that pole A is actually an invariant point, so will remain where it is. So, there is no change in the position of pole A because of the first rotation about the A axis. Now, we do a rotation of beta about the B axis, and this entire great circle AB will move, and this will move, let us say, to position here. So, essentially pole A moves to A prime. Now, I can join pole A prime and C by a great circle. So, this is my third or fourth whatever, I am going to join it with a great circle. So, A prime C. Now, consider the triangles, in this case ABC and the triangle A prime BC. So, triangle ABC and A prime BC, let us see what we can tell about them. So, first of all, take the side AB and the side A prime B. Since basically we have rotated the great circle AB to the position B A prime, the two sides would be equal. And what about the angle? The angle, let us say, what about this angle? Since we have rotated about beta, about the B axis, we already had this angle as beta, total rotation would be beta. So, this was half of it, beta by 2. So, therefore, this also has to be beta by 2. The other thing, as there is a common side as well. So, now I have two spherical triangles in which two sides are equal and an included angle is equal, and therefore, the two triangles ABC and A prime BC have to be congruent. Now, if that happens, which means that the side is A prime C and the side AC, they also have to be equal. These two angles also have to be equal, and this angle would be alpha by 2. Now, consider the angles at the pole C. These two angles are equal, but we have already said that C is a rotation axis, and in fact, now I can make the following comment that pole A moves to pole A prime through a combination of operations A alpha and B beta. Therefore, I can also in a single rotation I can go from A to A prime through C gamma. So, I do a rotation of gamma about the C axis, I will go from A to A prime. And now, these two angles being equal, that is the angles ACB and the angle A prime CB, therefore, each of them must be gamma by 2, gamma by 2. Now, we are almost done. Now, we will now only focus on the triangle ABC and look at all the angles that this triangle has. So, I have the interior angles of this triangle is alpha by 2, beta by 2, gamma by 2. What about the angles or the angular distance between poles A and B, B and C and A? Well, let us denote them as between A and B, let us denote that distance as C, between A and C, denote this distance as B, and between B and C, we denote the distance as A. So, these are essentially nothing but the angles between the rotation axes A, B and C. Now, we come back to the cosine rule. What can we say? Well, small a, small b, small c in the cosine rule are denoted already in the triangle ABC. What about the angles now capital A, capital B, capital C? They are nothing but alpha by 2, beta by 2 and gamma by 2. Hence, now I can write cos A equals cos of alpha by 2 plus cos of beta by 2 cos of gamma by 2 divided by sin beta by 2 sin gamma by 2. Cos B would be cos of beta by 2 plus cos of gamma by 2 cos of alpha by 2 divided by sin gamma by 2 sin alpha by 2, and cos C is equal to cos of gamma by 2 plus cos of alpha by 2 cos of beta by 2 divided by sin alpha by 2 sin beta by 2. So, we have found a set of relationships now between A, B, C and alpha, beta, gamma. Now, just before I conclude this lecture, let me just apply it to a situation where I have three axes meeting at a point and all the three axes are two-fold rotation axis that we saw in the last lecture when we solved that problem using matrices. So, let us just solve that specific problem again through this route. So, our first example is the combination of the axes 2, 2, 2. Clearly, I have rotation of pi about A, I have rotation of pi about B, and I have a rotation of pi about the C axis. From the cosine rule, we can clearly see that essentially when I substitute, so what do I have? I have essentially alpha equals beta is equal to gamma is equal to pi. When I substitute it alpha, beta, gamma in the cosine rule very clearly, all the terms in the numerator are 0 and the terms in the denominator is basically 1. Hence, cos A equals cos B equals cos C, which is equal to 0, and therefore, A equals B equals C equals 90 degrees. This is exactly the same result we got from matrix multiplication, that when I have 3 two-fold axes meeting, they must meet at 90 degrees to each other. So, these angles are all 90. So, same result as obtained from matrix multiplication. And this is the only possible combination for 3 two-fold rotation axes. Now, what I will do is I will stop this lecture here, but before you go to the next lecture, you can think about how to combine other rotational symmetries. For example, what would be the case if I had a 3-fold and 2 two-folds? What would be the case if I had a 2-fold, 3-fold and a 4-fold? When they combine, what should be the angles between them? And are there any combinations which are invalid? And they'll all of these results will pop out of from these 3 equations. So, I suggest that before you go to the next lecture, try to do this exercise yourself, and anyway in the next lecture I will visit some of the possibilities, and in the end we will list down all possible possibilities that are there of combining rotation axes. Thank you.